Hey everyone! Today we are going to take a look at my Kassai Cintari Sellsword Blitz deck. Very excited about that one. Hey everyone! So Kassai Cintari Sellsword. This is a very powerful Blitz deck that I want to show you guys. People are not used to play against this hero, and it's very fun. So the main event here is Kassai Cintari Sellsword. Her ability is that her second sword attack each turn costs one less. And she has a second part to her ability. It's at the beginning of your end step. If you have attack with two or more time with a weapon this turn, create a copper token for each weapon attack that have it. So yeah, you'll see that this hero is kind of in between Dorantia and Ira, I find. Because she's swinging with two weapons each turn, and she has those attack reaction in hand that are very powerful. I think we're going to start with the equipments. The first equipment is the Arcanite Skull Cap. This is part of the fridge, basically. So with a warrior like this, you usually want to have equipments that total about 6 or 7 defense at the beginning of the game. This way you can like block out something like Command and Conquer without using any cards from your hand. So this is part of that loadout, basically. You're probably almost playing the Arcanite Skull Cap, except against something like Kano, where you'll put the Null Rune. Then you have the Brave Forge Bracer, very powerful in this build because it buffs your second attack if the first one has hit. So if people like let the first attack hit, you're just getting a 8 for 3 afterwards. I'll show you the weapon afterwards. Then we have a Courage of the Blade of Bladeold. This is a little less powerful than in Dorantia because your second weapon attack each turn costs 1 less to attack with. So the ability on Courage only discount the second attack that you're the first attack that you're doing in the turn. Sometimes it can be useful if you have a really awkward end where you don't have the resources to be able to swing with your first weapon. Then we have a Findle Spring Tunic. This is totally not mandatory for this deck. I mean, you're probably playing the Courage all of the time. Then else you'll play like the Null Rune. It can be useful for the Shunt. I'll show you guys later. The Shunt costs 1 to play the defense reaction. So this could let you play the defense reaction without spending extra resources from your hand. So that's cool. Then we're playing the boots, the Null Rune boots, the gloves, and the hood. You could have a fourth one, have the chest piece if you're not playing the Reflector Bolter. I'm not playing the Reflector Bolter really often. I'm really using the Valiant Dynamo most of the times. So that there's a case to be made here. Also, I've seen some people, instead of this, putting in their loadout Deep Blue, because against Kano, it's really good that you could just start the turn, pitch throw a red card under your deck, and get that 3 resources in your pool. It kind of forced them to either play at instant speed and try to deal as much damage as possible on that Deep Blue activated ability, or you have so much resources in your pool that they really don't want to spend resources to try to hurt you this turn. And Reflector Bolters I don't really play because you already have a lot of cards in this deck that give go again to your weapon. The chances that you don't get to end with a card that gives go again is so low that the Reflector Bolters isn't really necessary. The Valiant Dynamo is actually like the all-star of this deck. You really want to run it every time you're playing against a hero that is playing a lot of physical abilities, physical attack. I'll explain to you later a little bit about the play pattern that you want to have with this deck, and this is a big part of that play pattern. Then the weapon is the Cintari Saber. It only attacks for 2, but it's still 1 more than a Kedachi, right? Also, if it doesn't have go again, though. So when you swing with your first one, if you don't have something to give it go again, then your turn ends. It's pretty bad. So it also has an ability. It doesn't like trigger matter too often. It does. It gets +1 if it's blocked by an attack action card. So if someone tries to block with some most attack action card that people play is are 3 block anyway, so it's gonna just buff it to 3 and not do any damage. But there's cases like they will block with a nourish with a how's it called, the ASMR, coffee drinking. Yeah, it's with the exude confidence, like it's 2 block. It can matter. It gets a hit. It triggers Kassai's second ability where you get that copper. So it might be good, but it's not. Doesn't matter too much. We'll go over the card that we're playing in the deck. The first one, I have 1 copy of Nourishing Emptiness. I'm not playing any other attack action in the deck. There's a case to be made to have 2 Nourishing Emptiness and to use the first one to push some damage and the second one to block. Because the play pattern that I want to do with this deck anyway is to block with the Valiant Dynamo and a 3 block card every turn. I don't want to do more than that because Kassai doesn't really do very well when she has an end of 2 cards. She really needs that 3 card end to be able to push damage to your opponent, or at least threaten those attack reaction. So 2 might be okay. I like to pitch this card when I'm like mid-game and not attack with it because I like to finish my opponent with it, or to use it on turn 1 just to get that extra card in your hand at the end of the turn and get that arsenal card. So you get a 6 card end on the turn after, so it's pretty powerful. Then we play 2 copy, that's the only defense reaction in the deck, blue copy of Steelblade Shunt. I don't really want to play too many defense reaction in this deck. I really want to be on the attacking all the time. If you're always emptying your hand with defense reaction, you won't be able to push damage and put pressure on your opponent's hands. So yeah, I have 2 of them. Sometimes you can win game with this when you get against Ira. Sometimes life total get to 1. That just happens all the time with the Ira. With this, you can just finish her off on her turn, so it's pretty cool. Then we have Cash In. That's the reason we are playing this instead of Dorinthia. So Cash In costs 4. It pitch for 2. And you draw 2 cards. So it's not really good. But if you have coppers, you can just pay 4 coppers to pay for the cost of Cash In. So it's a free 2 card draw. That can get you into pretty powerful 5 card ends. And this is why we're playing equipments with that much armor. Sometimes what we'll do with Arsenal this, or just keep it in your hand with a card in Arsenal. Block with the equipment, don't use anything from your hand, and do really powerful 6 card ends. Sometimes you can even chain both of the Cash In the same turn. It's disgusting. Can get 7 card and anyway, disgusting. Driving Blade is one of the most important card in the deck. I think we're playing all of them. Okay, we're playing all of them except 1 yellow. It gives +3 to your next attack this turn, your next weapon attack, and it gives it go again. So when you have it costs 2. That's why you want a 3 card, and you want to pitch a card, pay for this, and then use the other card to pay for the weapon attack. Or if you pitch the blue, you can attack and have that attack reaction in your hand that you can threaten on your attack. So Diving Blade, so it's 5 copy. Hit and Run isn't really played in most of the weapon decks like Dorinthia. It's not like an all-star in her deck.
In this deck, it's pretty disgusting. It's 0 mana to give Go Again to your attack. And if you already have Go Again from something else, like Diving Blade, you can just use it to pump your second attack. It's not a reaction, it's an action, but it put a lot of pressure on the table. And because you're not playing cards that attack the arsenal in this deck, you're not playing Command and Conquer and stuff like that, you need to have those buff effect just to, and those powerful on hit effect, just to empty your opponent hands when they're trying to set up a really powerful turn with their arsenal. So you cannot attack that arsenal, so attack the hand instead, right? Something really disgusting with hit and run that you can do, if you read the second part of it, it says, if you have attack with a weapon this turn, the next attack this turn gain +3. It doesn't say weapon attack. So a way to finish my opponents that I use quite often is set up a hit and run at the bottom of my deck with the Nourishing Emptiness. This way I can swing with my weapon. You can give it again with another hit and run or another card that I'll show later. So you swing with a weapon, the opponent will be like, whatever, I'll take it, or whatever, I'll block it, and you don't really care. But then you can play hit and run and give that Nourishing Emptiness attack that you'll be doing on your second, when they think you're going with a second weapon swing, you can just play with Nourishing Emptiness instead, buffed. So it can, even going at 7 with a blue hit and run, it's still powerful. It asks for 3 cards block, and they can't because it's dominated. Also playing a blue a red hit and run on a Nourishing Emptiness is a 9 attack dominated that gets you to draw an extra card. It's just disgusting. I love it. You're playing all of them because of this little combo that you can do. And this will happen quite often with when you do those cash-in turns. You have so many cards in the end that you have extra hit and... Sorry about that. More coffee. Extra hit and runs that you can just use to buff your second attack. That's really cool. Second Swing. This is a flex card, meaning that you can remove it from the deck and put something else. I just really like to do Gentleman Turn, where I'll show my damage to my opponent and have them make the decision if they want to block it or not. Because again, I want to attack that end, right? This is a +4 on your second swing. If they're not blocking it, that's gonna take a good chunk of damage in Blitz, right? A good chunk of their life point. I'll also use that card to block a lot, so it doesn't really matter on that on that spot where I use what I use. But I would also suggest the Stroke of Foresight. It's really good. It's an attack reaction that costs the same amount as second swing and get +3 to a weapon. So it's a little bit less damage, but it's a surprise attack, so it's pretty cool. And also give some almost like an up. It lets you, if you hit, you draw a card, and you can put one card from your hand at the top of your deck. It's fine. But I like the second swing so far, so I'm gonna continue with it. Also, your next attack game, that also buff any attack. It doesn't just buff a weapon attack. So it can be used also to buff the Nourishing Emptiness for the finishing blow. So that's something you can do at the beginning of the game. If you have Nourishing Emptiness and Second Swing, it's not a bad idea to just pitch those 2 cards, set them up at the bottom of the deck, and use them to finish your opponent later. Sharpened Steel, that's kind of a staple in this deck. Again, it just 0 mana, give you +3 attack on your weapon. That's very good because it's 0. It costs nothing, and it blocks for 3. So you'll probably just throw it under the bus sometime just to use this and Valiant Dynamo just to block 4. I haven't read Valiant Dynamo to you guys. It's a pretty important card in the deck. It blocks for only 1, but at the beginning of your end phase, if you attack with 2 or more time with weapons this turn, you remove a -1 counter from Valiant Dynamo, and it has Battle Worn. So you can block with it, and on your turn, you're almost always going to swing with 2 weapons. So it's going to remove that -1 token. It's not rare during a game that it will block for like 4 or 5 or maybe 6. So it's maybe 6 life on the Valiant Dynamo. It's pretty disgusting. One of the most important, that could be a Kassai specialization, to be frank, the Spoils of War. It gives +2 to your next weapon attack, and it gives it go again. It's only a 1 instead of being 2 like Diving Blade. And every time a weapon you control hit this turn, you're going to create 2 coppers. That's on top of the 1 copper that you're making with Kassai if you attack with 2 weapons and they hit. So sometime you can create like 6 copper token during a single turn with this. It's just ridiculous. It can really set up like really good cash-in turns. Warrior's Valor, that almost never hit for me. It gives +3 to your next weapon attack, and if it hits, it gives go again. Why is it never hitting? Is it because it's so threatening for the opponent to give go again to your weapon? So they're most likely going to block out more than they need to, so that to make sure that you're not using attack reaction or anything fishy to give go again to your weapon. Which is good because this card is in the deck actually to attack the end of the opponent. So if they have an arsenal card, I would strongly suggest to use Warrior's Valor instead of using something like Driving Blade on that turn, just to if you know that they're going to go all out next turn and they'll have a 5-card end because of the arsenal. Just use that, and for sure they will try to block it. If they don't, it's still a +3, and you have other effect that can buff your weapon. I'll show you a couple of the attack reaction later. And we have a yellow because it's so good. So you can also use it on your second swing, just for the buff. It's a 1 and give you +3, so it asks for a card to block it, so it's fine. Some instant, we're playing 2 Sigil of Solace. I was thinking of maybe cutting this because of Valiant Dynamo. They already like giving you so much life on the span of the game. Not sure if we need the Sigil or more damage. In Blitz, they are pretty much a staple because like starting the game with 26 life is basically, it's insane. Like it gives you a huge advantage on your opponent. It can also be used to bait out the Command and Conquers of the opponents. If you play that in your arsenal, whenever they use Command and Conquer, they think you have a defense reaction or an attack action in your arsenal, and you could just pop that, take 3, and whatever, go to the next turn. Then the attack reaction, those are very important. There's only 13 in the deck because I don't need a lot, actually. Opponents are so used to playing against Dorinthia that has like most of their deck are attack reactions. They will block out anyway way too much than what they need. So while playing the Glint, you're probably throwing that under the bus, like blocking with it or pitching it to on your turn. Sometimes it can be useful. It gives you an extra draw if they block from there. And it's pretty much a staple in Warrior anyway. Then we're playing 2 Iron Song Response. That's very powerful. If they block from their end, it gives +3. Sorry about that. It gives +3 to your weapon attack, so it can give you easy hit to do. We're playing this one. Sometimes you just want to hit, and you need it to pitch, and it blocks for 3, so it's good. So 4 Iron Song Response. Out for Blood, this one is very good. You usually want to use it on your first weapon attack, so it gives +3 to that attack, and it has reprise. If they block from their end, it gives +1 to your next weapon attack, which is very good. Sometimes you can play this because of the +3, and then get +1 on your second saber swing, which would swing for 3. When you're swinging for 3, it's actually very good because if they use a attack action card to block it, then it goes to 4. Also, you can use your bracers, the Brave Forge bracers, to buff it by 1 more because you've hit with the first attack because of that +3. So it gets really out of control. It can create big turn
Usually, if they're thinking about maybe not blocking too much, just throwing a card under the first saber attack, then they might reconsider their turn and try to block the second saber as well. We have again 4 of those, like 2 red and 2 blue. The blue you probably won't use to buff your attack. You'll probably just use it to block or to pay for stuff. 1 overpower. This is too expensive, I think. It's 3 resources to play it. Sometimes it can be useful. It's +4 if they blocked from their end. It can finish up games sometimes. And we're one of the big finisher is route. I'm playing 2 of those. Usually I'll block with the first one that I see. I really want to only use 1 to end the game. I don't need 2 in the deck. It's just that it's a good card overall with the 3 block. And it can create a pretty big swing. You're returning something that they block with to their end. So most of the time, mid-game, we don't really want to do this because we want to attack their end. So returning something to their end for 3 more damage is not super worth it most of the time. Yep, so that's pretty much the deck. And like I said, the play pattern is block with something from the end that has 3 block, then block with the Valiant Dynamo for 4 total, and leave it there. Take the rest. It's a pretty no-brainer deck. You don't want to think too much when you're playing this. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay just to show off this little play pattern here. Playing against my Ira deck, so it might be rough a little, but I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, the AI tried to attack with a leg tap first, don't know why. So that's 4 damage, go again. So we are going to block for 4 here, I guess. We want to keep that diving blade for sure because it gives go again to and we want to keep the spoil of war, so we'll just block like this. Bloop, bloop. And that's 4 fully blocked, and then we'll take some damage, I guess. That's 2 damage. I can block with a second card. I don't care because it's a first turn, so I'll redraw up anyway, and I want to get those blues. Getting me with the snatch. I'll pitch that here. And yeah, whatever. Just want to block that good effect. I don't want them to have an arsenal. So I already broke the play pattern. Oops. It's fine. So we have a cash-in now. It's totally useless at the beginning of the game, so I'll just pitch that. Play the Spoils of War. Then we'll swing with the Cintari Saber 4. And they'll block for 5 using... Okay. They block with the Flick Flag in the defense reaction step. It didn't say... it didn't explain it very well, but fine. See that they still have 2 cards in hand, and Ira works really well with 2 cards in hand. She can actually sometimes swing, Kadechi, and another card. So I would just go with a big swing, hit and run, into hit and run, and play a really tall attack of 7 if they block with an attack action, like Command and Conquer. See that hand here? It was a Kadechi Command and Conquer for 7 that they just had to throw under the bus. I'm really happy about that. And we'll just continue like this. Then they don't have a turn, and we have a pretty bad end here, considering that we don't get a blue card. But it's actually not that bad. We can play a Diving Blade, pitching the Hit and Run and the Warrior's Valor under the deck. Then we have enough for an attack. Popping the Courage would be possible here, but it's not really good. So they take 3 damage here, so they must have a pretty good end that they want to keep a 3-card end. So we just did the 5 damage here. We'll leave it like this. And again, we'll block for 4. So we have 2 Iron Song response that we don't need. They just go all out on 7. We'll just block 4. And they give it go again. They must have something that costs 0 or wanted to arsenal that card. I'm not sure. Use the Tunic, Kadechi for 1. This doesn't have go again, so I don't care.
And we see that we already built up 2 coppers because we've hit 2 times, which is pretty good. And we have that Spoil of War now with 2 resource floating. That's really good because now we have the bracers that we can activate. Okay, they don't block. They sink from their end, so we'll use the Iron Song response to make sure we hit. And we did not hit, so that's a little sad. But we still took 2 cards away from them. And we hit with the second, so we just build up our coppers to 5 and remove a counter from the Valiant Dynamo, which is pretty good. They're going in with leg tap, which is fine. Against 4, so it's perfect for us. We just want to block that, right? Tuk. Block for 4. They're not playing. Obviously, the AI is not really good. Like, it could have done a much better turn here, but... so we'll take 1 and heal for 3, I don't care. And take the damage. Okay, take 5, whatever. It's 5. So with 13-13 against Ira, it's pretty good. Then we'll play the Warrior's Valor to take card away from their end. I would rather do this when they have an armory. So it's 5, threatening 6. They block for 4 from their end. We hit for 1, which is pretty cool. Because we've hit, we can activate the Bracer and swing for 3. And if they use an attack action to block this, again, it will buff our thing, but because of the Flick Flack, they get 5 block here. It's pretty rough. But we still took some cards from their end, but they are Ira. They can do a lot with only 2 cards in hand, right? Exude Confidence is a pretty good card. We'll block it because we can. 4 again. Oh, they use the ability from Exude. Fine, don't care. We are at 11, turning on our at, but we don't care about that too much. Here we just want to... Yeah, we don't have a way... We can do a very tall attack. And we don't have go again. That's a problem right now with this hand. We don't have a good way to give go again to a saber. So we can do a tall saber. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9. So I think that's what I'm doing. That happens sometime. Like we can control this. So it's 5. Don't care if they block or not because we have that buff here. And we take another Flick Flack from them. So that's really good. And we still hit for like 4. I think we're done with all the red Flick Flack. I think they still have one. So they have 3 card end. That's really scary. But they use Pounding Gale for 5. Again, we cannot, with this deck, you cannot block for with 2 cards from end. See that how that end doesn't work at all if we block with 2 cards. So we'll use, because we have more health, or Cold Skull Cap is dead, we'll go for 5 like this. Because we were not able to turn on our Valiant Dynamo next turn, but we've already blocked like with it like 3 times. So it's pretty good. We'll just go like this. Diving Blade, give it +2. Swing for 4. 5 if they block with an attack action. And they don't. Okay. Still get that hit though. We really just want to chip away at them. Now we have a choice. Do we want to attack with 1 more attack on this or keep this route? I think we want to threaten more damage. And put a red under the deck, it's pretty good. So it's 3 damage. Going to 4, that's fine. They had a Flick Flack, I think. Anyway, don't care. That's fine. So we have a route and a blue at the bottom of the deck. We've just turned back on our Valiant Dynamo, so it's pretty good. Next turn, we have a hit and run and an out for blood, which is pretty fine. 2 damage, we'll just take that, don't care. And we'll play the Sigil.
just for the fun. Now they have a 5-card end next turn, which is pretty scary. Want to play that hit and run, yellow one. It's a little stronger. It attacks for 2 more. Gives 2 more to the weapon. No, sorry. We don't care about which one we use because the first attack, it's only giving it go again. I'll play the Out for Blood and the Flick Flack again because this is Ira, right? So we've hit for 2. We can use the Brave Fort and swing for another 3. And we're chipping at it, at her pretty effectively right now. Getting that route again. And this is where I'm going to block with weapons like this, with armor. And I won't block with, I won't use my cards in hand because we got a cash in turn here. So we play the cash in, pay 4 copper for it. Get that Nourishing Emptiness. We don't have a good hit and run to buff it. So I won't use it right now, but I want to go with the route here for sure. I want to push as much damage as I can, and next turn finish them with this. So let's go with Sharpened Steel. Then I will simply attack, pitching the Shunt. We'll use the Glint or the route. We'll see. Blocking for 8. That's a lot. We'll use the Glint. Very good. We'll pass. Then we'll swing with this second weapon attack. And this is when we kill them, basically, because we use they could only block with 1 card from hand. So we'll route, return this to their end, and that put a 6-0 block. They were at 5, so we win the game. And you see a little bit how I play the deck. It's really going with that 1-2 and you don't punch. So it's a little bit like Ara that's going 1-2 and punch. The weapons attack are just a little bit bigger. I hope this helped you guys. I forgot to mention that if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, it would be great. I should probably say that at the beginning of the video. There's not too many people watching at the end. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, and if you have any question on the deck, you can just ask them in the comment below. Also, I'll put two a link in the description of the video. There's going to be this deck exactly, and I'm going to put another one once I do any change to the deck. I did that for the Ira deck. If you want to go back to that video. There is the link to the Ira that I built in the video, and then there's a second link to the version I'm currently playing, and I update that one every time I go to an event and decide to do some changes. Like in Ira, I removed the Soul Bead Strike Red and added the Snatch recently, so something like that. Little tweaks and that I do. So again, I appreciate you guys, and have a great day. See ya!